In only 10 days, the attention of Jewish hoops fans across the country will focus on Memphis, Tennessee, and the 13th annual Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament. This year, the tournament becomes a man, and this year is sure to be the biggest and best event to date. 16 teams representing 10 states will compete this year for the prestigious national title. More than 50,000 viewers will tune in live, and more than 1,000 spectators will be on hand. But who will emerge as the 2019 national champion? Will the Midwest regain its status as a national powerhouse? Or will national bragging rights be an East Coast, West Coast affair? Will the Showtime stylings of the LA Stars withstand the high-octane play of their New York counterparts? Will the boys from the Sunshine State bring the title to their sandy beaches for the first time? Or will we have back-to-back champions for only the second time in tournament history? So many questions, so much excitement, and it all begins here. So pull up a chair, sit back, and relax, because the 2019 Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament seeding show starts now.
Charging the lane, up over defenders, it's in! What an amazing shot!
Welcome to the 13th annual Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament seeding show. Players, coaches, friends, and fans from across the country and around the globe are tuning in to see who will be this year's #1 seed and how the first round matchups will shake out. So let's start the excitement without any further delay. The 16th seed in the 13th annual Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament. First-time participants from Overland Park, Kansas, the Hyman Brand Hebrew Academy Rams. The Rams enter the tournament for the first time this year, though their nationally recognized program has had much historical success. But the program has been rebuilding for several years and is looking to reestablish itself on the national stage. Coach Damian Brown has transformed the Rams from a 1-win team only 3 years ago to a 10-win team last year. Seniors 6'1" Addison Brand and 6'3" Gavi Glickman led the Ram attack alongside freshman sensations Miller Brown and Max Blinn. The Rams will be a great team to watch as they play through the Tier 2 bracket. This year's 15 seed, from Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta Jewish Academy Jaguars. Coach Lamont Watkins returns perennial favorites, the Atlanta Jewish Academy Jaguars. The Jags have participated in 12 of 13 invitational events. Atlanta brings an exciting, fast-paced style of basketball to Cooper. While not big, no player stands taller than 6 feet. The Jaguars have quickness at every position and will push the tempo on both sides of the court. Seniors Gabriel Gadilov and Henry Hyman will lead the Jags as they seek to make noise in the Tier 2 bracket. This year's 14th seed, hometown favorites, the Cooper Yeshiva High School Maccabees. The hometown favorite Cooper Macs complete a successful, though somewhat disappointing, 2018-19 season. Having fielded a squad with arguably two of the best guards in the country, 2018 was to be the year that the Macs made some real noise nationally. But it was not to be, and Cooper finished the tournament and season below expectations. With veteran coach James Noakes passing the reins to legendary Memphis basketball icon Ronye Henry, the Macs looked to start the rebuilding with a strong showing at Cooper. Led by floor general Joe Weinstein, and with experienced players like Ben Mendelsohn, David Mashinsky, and Adab Goldkin, the Macs feel good about their chances. Add to the mix freshman shooter David Ruvain, the Doc Wogan, and high octane slasher Shachar Kahana, and the Macs have great hope for the future. Though the Macs will have their work cut out for them this year, we expect them to be a real competitor in the Tier 2 bracket. The 13th seed in the 2019 Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament. From Houston, Texas, the Barron Hebrew Academy Stars. Coach Chris Cole brings Barron back to Memphis for the first time since the Yosher Merwis championship years. And while the Stars do not have talents of that caliber on this squad, they will no doubt still bring the same type of athleticism and play to Cooper. Led by brothers Noah and Ariel Diner, the Stars are very feisty on the defensive end. Junior Jake Teller is a major gym rat who contributes in a huge way to Barron's success, and the Stars field 3 veteran role players. While not flashy, Coach Cole will have the Stars ready to play, and they will not be an easy out in the Tier 2 bracket. This year's number 12 seed, from Skokie, Illinois, the Fasman Yeshiva High School. Invitational favorites, the Fasman Yeshiva, come to Memphis with new head coach and Fasman player legend, Greg Kalutsky. Fasman returns several key pieces, including All-Stars Donnie Stein, Ari Schumann, and the big man in the middle, 6'6" Gavi Domsky. But it's not just the star power that leads the Yeshiva. The roster is at least 8 deep and brings experience and talent off the bench. While not particularly flashy, fundamentally the Yeshiva is sound on the defensive and offensive ends of the court. The Yeshiva is motivated to make a deep run in the Tier 2 bracket. The number 11 seed, from Davie, Florida, the Posnick Jewish Day School Rams. "2019 marks the 3rd consecutive year that the Rams will participate in the Cooper Invitational. In year 1, they won the Tier 2 title. In year 2, they made it to the Tier 1 Final Four. Based on the trajectory, this should be the year that Posnick plays for the overall title. But Posnick enters the 2019 season returning only 4 players who were in Memphis last year and only 2 starters. While talented, this year's team is very young and quite inexperienced. The starting lineup could very well consist of 3 sophomores and a freshman. But any team that returns all-star Josh Schultz will be competitive. Schultz averaged over 25 points a game last year. Along with sophomore A.B. Bunkowski, who provides points from the perimeters, the two are a dynamic tandem in the backcourt. While we expect the Rams to make the Tier 2 Final Four, it would not surprise anyone to see them exceeding expectations and making some noise in the Tier 1 bracket. The 2019 number 10 seed, from Valley Village, California, the Valley Torah Yeshiva High School Wolfpack. Returning for the first time since its debut national championship appearance in Cooper 11, Coach Lear Schwartzberg brings the Wolfpack back to Memphis looking for the same type of success. But unlike in 2017, Valley Torah does not have high school legend Ryan Terrell running the point, nor do they have the Twin Towers, Nada and Nimi Altit, raining threes. But anybody who overlooks the Wolfpack is making a huge mistake. Yona Hammy is one of the best players in the league, and perhaps the only thing that will stop him this year will be the minute restrictions he faces coming off an ACL injury. Add in junior Benji Dan and sophomore David Paz, and this team is extraordinarily balanced. 20 points can come from any player on any night. The Wolfpack intends to take another big step towards a Final Four run at this year's Invitational. Rounding out the Tier 2 bracket, this year's number 9 seed from Great Neck, New York, the North Shore Hebrew Academy Stars. North Shore has not been the same team since losing back-to-back-to-back national title games at Cooper in 2012, 2013, and 2014, and then losing their exceptional leader, Elliot Steinmetz, who took the head coaching reins at Yeshiva University. But Coach De La Rosa is one of the best in the business, and he has the Stars moving back up into the elite of New York Yeshiva basketball. Perhaps that is in large part due to 6'2" junior guard Stephen Levian, who can score and score in bunches with the best of the league. The Stars intend to ride Levian's hot hand in every game. But Levian is not alone. Add 6'3" Liran Hakakian, and you have two dynamic and talented scorers. North Shore is always well disciplined and always well coached. Expect the Stars to compete for the title in the Tier 2 bracket. Moving into this year's anticipated Tier 1 bracket. At number 8, from Deerfield, Illinois, the Rochelle Zell Jewish High School Tigers. Coming off of a Cinderella run in Cooper 12, where the Tigers went from the 11 overall seed to the Tier 1 title game, the Tigers come back to Memphis hungry for another shot at the crown. And while that won't be easy, having lost All-American Sammy Vanguard, the Tigers feel good about this year's team. A lot of that stems from the maturation of superstar Jake Silvers. The 6'4" shooting guard has bulked up and is now considered one of the top Jewish players in the country. Add to Silvers All-City point guard Ari Rosen, one of the few dunking point guards in the tournament, and depth at almost every position. This Tiger team is dangerous. The one question remains, can the Tigers put it all together without Vanguard so early in the season? Only time will tell. But the Tigers expect to be back playing for the title again come Championship Sunday. This year's number 7 seed from Rockville, Maryland, the Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School Lions. Coach David McLeod returns to Memphis looking to restore the roar for his JDS Lions. After several seasons that, at least for JDS, fell below their normal expectations, Coach McLeod believes this will be the team that puts JDS back into the national conversation. With 4 returning stars, JDS is big, talented, experienced, and perhaps most of all, hungry. Led by 6'4" Ariel Gershman, a 3-point shooter averaging 20 points a game. Rebounding machine 6'5" Jake Rolnick and 6'4" Jeremy Lazoff, and 6-foot sharpshooter Zach Gross, all held together by 5'10" floor general Brian Epstein. And the pieces are more than there for the Lions to claw their way back to the Tier 1 Final Four. The Lions don't care what seed they are, nor do they care who they play. They're going to work hard at the tip-off to the buzzer of every game. We expect the Lions to make noise in the middle of the Tier 1 bracket. The number 6 seed in the 2019 Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament. First-time participants from Brooklyn, New York, the Sha'arei Torah Stars. Sha'arei Torah competes in their first national event in school history and arrives in Memphis with very high expectations. Led by legendary Yeshiva League coach Jan Sandusky, the Stars are ready to take the next step from competitive to elite. Led by a stellar cast, they are locked and loaded to steal the national title from crosstown rival Magen David. The Stars boast an enviable starting lineup. Star-scoring point guard Jackie Haber, who averages over 23 points a game. Uber-athletic wing Freddie Swed. Scoring machine brother Eddie Swed, who dropped 44 points on DRS last year. Southpaw Shlomi Anbed that rebounds the ball and cleans up around the rim. And if all that wasn't enough, add 6'3" junior Ezra Beta for interior defense, and this team has no holes. What makes the Stars even more dangerous is not just their talent at every position, it's their attitude across the roster. The Stars aren't coming to Memphis to compete. They're coming to Memphis to win the whole thing. Keep an eye on the Stars. They could certainly be the Cinderella of this year's ball. This year's number 5 seed, from Miami, Florida, the Sheikh Hillel Community Day School Lions. One of the nation's most storied programs, the Lions, formerly the Hurricanes, returned to Memphis looking to get back to Championship Sunday, a place they have not been since 2009. Last year, the Lions knocked on the door of the title game, going 3-1 and losing only to eventual champions Magen David. They returned 7 seniors and 9 players from that 20-win team, including 3-year starter and all-tournament guard Alan Berkman, and what we call the Skyline, 6'6" Sam Taid, 6'5" Isaac Almkias, and 6'4" Daniel Abbo. The Lions' size should pose problems for many of the teams in this year's event. With Coach Craig Mankoff at the helm, you simply can never count the Lions out. We expect to see them fighting for a place in the Tier 1 Final Four. And that brings us to the top 4. Coming in at number 4, from Ocean, New Jersey, the Hillel Yeshiva High School Heat. The boys from Deal returned to Memphis for the 3rd time in school history. And while Hillel's dominance in the New York Yeshiva League has waned a bit over the past decade, this season is already looking to be different. In the first week alone, Hillel has knocked off perennial powerhouses Heschel, DRS, and Rambam, and lost a nail-biter to Magen David in Magen David's home gym. This success is in large part due to the dominance of 6'1" small forward Morris Tobias and power forward Joe Zakaria. But like any dominant Sephardic team, the Heat plays incredibly hard on both sides of the ball, and pressure, pressure, pressure. With talent from top to bottom, the Heat may very well need to make some room in the trophy case, as they could be boarding the flight home to Newark with lots of hardware in hand. This year's number 3 seed, from West Hills, California, the D. Toledo High School Jaguars. The Jags enter Cooper 13 looking for only one more win, a win that would have put them into last year's national championship game. On the back of superstar guard and three-point shootout champion Liam Evingham, D. Toledo blew through the Tier 1 bracket last year, losing a nail-biter in the semifinals to Rochelle Zell. And while Evingham graduated, the Jags retooled with arguably the most talented player in the whole tournament, 6'2" Campbell Hall transfer Jonah Dobkin, a dynamic scorer who can literally play all 5 positions. He is already being looked at by collegiate programs across the country. But the Jags are far from one-dimensional. They bring back experienced vets in Aiden Waldman, Jack Brombeck, and Dorrell Cohen. 6'6" Jordan Leschern will be playing this year, as he was injured and could not play in last year's tournament or last year throughout the season. Coach Castro is ready to put these Jags in the history books by joining crosstown rivals Eula and Valley Torah with national championships for Memphis. Watch out for the D. Toledo Jaguars. And that brings us to the final 2. The number 2 overall seed in the 2019 Cooper Yeshiva High School National Invitational Tournament. From Teaneck, New Jersey, the Torah Academy of Bergen County, TABC Storm. The Storm won the title at Cooper's inaugural event in 2007 and are ready to finally bring the title back to Teaneck. AAU legend Coach Oswald Cross believes this team is as talented as any the Storm has fielded. But most importantly, they know how to play together. This year's senior squad played together as sophomores when they won the Metropolitan Yeshiva League JV Championship, led by superstar point guard 5'11" Yoni Mann, and with player after player who not only knows how to play but knows their role. TABC is stacked at every position, and it's not just the starting lineup. There's no drop-off when they go to the bench. Player after player knows how to play and play the right way. The TABC Storm is a dangerous squad, one that has made waves throughout the Yeshiva League for the past 2 years, and who looks to take the squad to a national championship this year. We expect TABC to be playing for the national championship come Sunday. And that brings us to the number 1 overall seed, preseason number 1 team in the country, returning national champions from Brooklyn, New York, the Magen David Yeshiva Warriors. Magen David returns the core of what was one of the most elite teams in the country last year. The 2018-19 Magen David Warriors made it to the championship game in Memphis, the New York Yeshiva League Championship, and the Sarachik Championship game, and they look to do the same again this year. They have already won their New York preseason tournament and are currently ranked as the top team in the country. Coach Ike Dweck, one of the nation's most prolific Jewish high school coaches, brings to Memphis virtually the identical team that dominated the 2018 Cooper Invitational. Only this year, they are 1 year stronger, 1 year more experienced, and even more dangerous. The Warriors are led by preseason National Player of the Year nominee Phenom guard Albert Nasiri, and joined by a group of star players including assist machine Tico, Teddy Cohen. But what perhaps makes this team scarier than any prior Warrior squads is that they've now also added size, an MVP caliber size and skill, replacing forward Mikey Nakin with JV MVP 6'6" Joe Sultan. Magen David sets out on its course to join only Jack Gindy's legendary Eula teams of 2011 and 2012 as back-to-back national champions. And if any team were perched to repeat, it would be these Magen David Warriors. Magen David is the team to beat this year, and they look to bring the prestigious Cooper title back home to Brooklyn once again. With the seedings now announced, log on to the website at www.cooperinvitational.com to see the full list of seedings and the first day's game schedule. Also, make sure to complete and enter your bracket in the 2019 Cooper Yeshiva High School Bracket Challenge. Can't wait to see you in Memphis soon.